The following is a presentation of the Nerd Complex Podcast Network.
We would like to welcome you to Audio Suplex Live, brought to you by the Nerd Complex Podcast Network. Hey, welcome to the show, guys.
Welcome. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Oh,
Everybody's doing good.
everybody's doing well. And if you guys are watching this on YouTube, you'll see in our lower corner here, we have some guests with us today.
Hooray. Why don't you introduce our guests? This is the reason we're here. Let's get right into it.
We are joined today by the guys from P.O.S.E.R Wrestling. Guys, introduce yourselves and say what's up to the Audio Suplex Live crowd.
Well, sorry, the lag on there. So my name is Brent Bowser, and I play Dan Taylor in P.O.S.E.R Wrestling. I'm one of the creators and producers of P.O.S.E.R Wrestling.
My name is Dustie Pitstick, and I wrestle as P.O.S.E.R, a.k.a. I get in a monkey suit and get thrown around a lot. It's fun, and I am also one of the creators and producers of P.O.S.E.R Wrestling that we're doing here.
Fantastic. All right.
May I say, Bananas Foster is a great name.
I was going to say, that's a great character.
I like it.
It's hard in a monkey suit. That's the first thing I've learned. Everything else about it's great. The character's great. We're like, this is going to be a really fun idea until you put on a giant fursuit and start doing flips, and then it's
all downhill from there.
I have no idea how people have sex in those things.
I've never really thought about that. Yeah, I guess the heat level has turned up a little bit.
You know what? I'm actually amazed that we're on episode 24 and it took us this long to have somebody do like a reference to furries on our show. So
thank you.
Thank you for being our first furry reference, guys. I appreciate it. So, when you guys were first brought to my attention through, I think it was Matt who actually our friend Matt, good friend.
Yeah, we actually we know Josh Miller. I know Josh Miller a little bit.
okay.
So
he had kind of like, I think, tagged me in something that you guys had talking about wanting to get on podcasts, and us in our never ending quest to get content and bring our listeners the best in professional wrestling content that we can. I immediately jumped on it because the whole idea, so, I'm going to try my best to describe it, and we'll give you guys an opportunity to kind of go a little bit more in depth with it. But so P.O.S.E.R Wrestling is a episodic web video series based around professional wrestling, but it's also got a kind of like a story element to it and elements of like slapstick and just kind of really kind of making wrestling. I think the hashtag you guys use is make wrestling fun again. So I'm probably not doing it justice, but how would you describe P.O.S.E.R Wrestling to anybody tuning in?
The best way I can think of, if any of you guys are video gamers, like the new Mortal Kombat and the DC versus Marvel and the Injustice games, where there's a whole story, and then when it's time to fight, they just fight. So it is real wrestling. It is in a ring. There are real matches, but just really playing up around the idea of the drama going on behind it. And, just taking these ridiculous characters that nowadays a lot of your guys, you kind of got, I Hate America guy, and you've got Spooky Illuminati guy, and you've got, a couple different tropes. And we were like, what about a guy in a monkey suit? Or, we have a guy who his whole gimmick is he's the local legend, and it's a really Bill Brasky-esque character where he fathered every child on the softball team, and we built a promo where he just throws a lady over his shoulder, opens an umbrella, and flies away. We wanted to do this ridiculous, larger-than-life stuff, so it's kind of Troma meets Melrose Place meets, Attitude Era fun wrestling.
Nice.
Which sounds like something like entirely up our alley.
Absolutely. Like, it's nice to have something different. When everything's the same, you get lost in the shuffle, where this is something where you're really going to stand out, and it being a web series, it's easy to watch pretty much for anybody.
Sean, did you?
Now, do you guys pick the characters for the wrestlers, or do you kind of just give them free reign, and if you like it, you run with it, or how does the process work?
We've been lucky that we're all either good friends or friends of friends, so we've been able to bounce the ideas off of each other and kind of pitch, well, what about this? Well, what about this? But we have tried to let everybody have the freedom of there is a lot of restriction in wrestling nowadays in your bigger companies where it's kind of like, okay, here's your bullet points or here's your promo, go do what we say. Whereas we want, if you have a character you believe in and you're sold on it, you're going to have so much more fun with it. So we're trying to work with everybody and just see what happens.
Yeah, and everyone's been very, very collaborative and very open-minded. We really haven't had any divas. I'm like, no, I mean, my character would definitely, like they'll come up with an idea, we'll bounce it off of, well, we have this other character, and this would be really cool. Oh, yeah. And so, it's great. The energy from everyone just keeps building and building.
So it seems like your guys' characters are all pretty much a collaborative effort between you guys and everybody that you're having come out. So, one of the questions I really kind of had was, it's a wrestling show first and foremost. Is everybody that you guys are having as characters, trained wrestlers, or are we getting people in who are maybe kind of just learning on the fly, almost like to kind of go to something that's relevant right now, like a Glow situation where they were bringing in people who were not trained wrestlers, but helping them along the way.
Right.
There are 2 or 3 people who aren't fully trained, but they won't be doing anything until they are trained.
Right.
That is first and foremost everyone's safety. And at the end of the day, I know it sounds a little old-fashioned, but it is a thing where, there's decades of wrestling history. We don't want to seem like we're being insulting to wrestling. There's already people that are looking at it as, a guy in a monkey suit and a girl from Tinder and a robot. Like, they're already, a little bit kind of put off by it. So we are really doing everything to try and be as respectful as possible to wrestling itself, to make sure everyone's trained and not just take a bunch of ragtag people and throw them in and have them breaking their necks. We can't afford that.
Right. It makes way more sense.
Which is why we don't put anybody through tables on our show. So
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet at least.
We haven't been trained yet.
So that actually kind of gets me into another point that I wanted to I'm glad you said that because I want to piggyback it off a little bit. There's a large discussion in the wrestling community about there are people who are anti-flippy shit and people who are like pro flippy shit, with the whole dive debate and stuff like that. And then I know there are like people who are purists in the sense of they don't think that there's any room for comedy in wrestling. I'm of the opposite idea. I think that there's place in everything in wrestling. I think there can be big guys, small guys, flippy guys, funny guys.
Right.
If you can do something, you can do it. And where do you guys kind of stand? I'm assuming you guys kind of stand on the side of, if you can do it, do it. But
Oh man,
I'll give a quick answer, and then I feel like he'll have a better answer. We are. I have been in bands for almost 20 years. He's done stand-up comedy. Everyone involved in our group are all people that have done acting and bands and, just kind of the whole downtown art scene sort of vibe where the best way I've always put it with shows is if you throw 4 punk bands on a bill, you're going to get 20 punk fans. If you throw, a punk band and a hip-hop act and you get this dance band on and they each bring 20 people, it's a fuller show. Everybody can enjoy something. So I'm, like you said, I think you can have the big guys, you can have the flippy stuff, you can have the ladies wrestling, you can have the comedy segments, and everybody brings something cool to the table versus, let's just eat steak. It's like, let's have all the sides, let's have everything going on. And even if there's something you don't like, there's going to be something you do like, so people will stick around, I think. Hopefully.
I think the answer is somewhere in the middle of this debate. I know you probably would not guess it based on the product that we're trying to present to you, but I am very heavily influenced by Jim Cornette.
Aren't we all?
But he does have like a lot of good points of the classical booking. If all you have are big guys, then you have no big guys. So for the people who say that like there's no place in wrestling for comedy, well, if everyone is a dark magic powered Illuminati worshipping mass murderer of violence, then
nobody
is.
Yeah, there's going to be, if everyone is just doing flippy stuff and no one is on the mat doing a hold, then no one's really wrestling. You've just got a bunch of acrobats. So I think somewhere in the middle, you need to have your big guys and your flippers and your technical and your comedy and your serious and your you just need it all in there, thrown in.
I was wondering, like, so how did you guys come up with this? Did you guys decide, hey, we want something that maybe is not available yet? Like, how did you guys come to the conclusion that, hey, we should do our own wrestling show?
I think we're a very put up or shut up kind of group of people that we have. We're all armchair bookers. We do it, you do it. I'm sure all of your listeners do it. Like, this is how it should have happened, what we want to see. And we got tired of saying, well, what would be cool if? So we're just doing it.
Another short version of that kind of, I think, got the ball rolling is a buddy of ours who is involved in this. His name's Victor Bonacourt. He's done documentaries that have debuted at Horror Hound and Days of the Dead and some of the other big festivals. Really, really good with video. He's going to be doing a lot of our production.
Nice.
Did a video for a band locally that involved like some cheesy backyard stuff. And it kind of turned into, man, we could make this and it would be funny, and which then steamrolled into, well, some of us are already trained and we have other friends that are trained. We could actually film, and it just kept spiraling out of control until all of a sudden we've got, a robot and a Dracula and a dragon and a whole. You have to have a couple big serious sort of traditional wrestlers to play the straight man you can't, because like he said, if everybody is, a punk rock person and this and that and the other, then really nobody stands out that much on the show. You've got to have, and we do have a handful of guys that are, just really good at wrestling, but also grounded in reality that makes everything else pop. Like, okay, I'm watching an episode of 205 Live and all of a sudden there's a pots and pans robot. This seems really weird.
Yeah, what's going on?
Vibe, then less of the, okay, this is all taking place in some weird, far off make-believe land where everybody's weird.
Right, remove yourself from it, and yeah.
I wanted to kind of go back to something that you had mentioned earlier about being in bands, and one of the things that when we started our show and our podcast, that was super cool for us was to be able to reach out to different friends that it's the same kind of concept where we have friends who are in different creative endeavors, whether it be like filming or in bands. Like our intro music is a friend of ours, Matt, his band Wax. We use their music for the intro and outro, and when we do stuff for our local indie, we use the band Second String Hero, which is one of the guys who wrestles up here. It's actually his band. So kind of tying into that with the characters and with the music that are going to be on this series, I'm assuming is it something that's you guys are like sourcing through your own local scene, or what's going on with that?
Absolutely, and a lot of it we're doing ourselves, and we've been super blessed that everyone involved are people from our local scene. So we have bands, we have musicians, we've got a buddy that owns a recording studio that, if there's a certain thing we want to do and no one has it, okay, we'll just make it. And Vic is super good with the camera work, and one of our refs is also a member of the local public access, so he has, access to those cameras. And it's just, one of the things, we've got a really good handful of guys from Pennsylvania, guys and girls, that are going to come and wrestle as well, and they've already got good characters, and we're just kind of taking it to where we don't want to, hey, you're already established and traveling, so we're going to change your character. We're letting them be them, but just kind of turning it, like my buddy Sean Phoenix from Pennsylvania, really good wrestler, and he does like a kind of pyromaniac gimmick, so we're just turning that up to 10, and now he's an actual guy that can throw fireballs.
Nice.
So it's a little ridiculous, but when I talked to him about this, he's like, I told him, hey, we would love for you guys to come down. We've already got the ring. We've got the space. We're steamrolling it. He's like, it's not very lucrative, right? And you're probably going to lose money. And we already all know that we are going to lose money, because we've been conditioned to expect that from being in bands and being in film and being in comedy. Like, I'm used to spending $50 to pack up the van and drive to a gig and make $30 and lose money. But also it's one of those things where, because we're lucky enough that all those people are involved, there is a less, we still had to pay for the ring, we bought title belts, we bought that, but we don't necessarily have to go through what other companies will with, we've got to find a guy and pay him to do music, we've got to find a guy and pay him to film. Like, we're lucky that everybody involved has that DIY attitude and is down to, it's a labor of love. We know we're not going to make a ton of money, but we have those tools already, so, hell, why not?
Yeah. Speaking of, you guys do have a GoFundMe set up, right? So if people want to donate to your cause, that's definitely something that they can do. Is that correct?
Yes. That'll be up till the end of July. And we're trying to stress with it that we've got the ring, we've got this, like, this is going to happen.
Right.
the GoFundMe will be a little bit more of putting a spit shine on it. The more we make, the more we can produce it a little bit better,
Right.
polish it a little bit better. Because there are those ones where someone's like, here's an idea, and if I get a bunch of money, I guess I'll do it. Like,
Right.
we're doing it. We're just hoping that people will buy shirts, and, you know, we're actually doing, I think this is something no one's done before, unless you count WWF in the 90s, but we're doing a mixtape of just all of our themes, since it's all local bands.
Right.
That, you know, that's one of the donor level things that, hey, you get this disc with just a bunch of cool local band music on it, and trying to do some stuff to give to people so they're not just, it's not a charity case. Hey, throw us money so we can try more of a, hey, we're doing it, get some cool shit.
If this is something that you're interested in, I mean, why not try to help it make it even better than it possibly could be? So, yeah. You're just you're helping the cause. So they're essentially just like the group of friends that you have. They're, you know, helping with their band is giving you some music, or the guys letting you use their studio. Yeah, they can help out too to make it, you know, a full product. And I think that's awesome. So we'll definitely have links to that. In our description, we'll have access to that. So anyone that's watching this that wants to donate, you absolutely can. We'll give you all the information.
Not
well.
only can you do it, but we actually encourage you to do it.
Yes.
So we demand.
If
you're an Audio Suplex Live fan, donate. So
correct.
I'm really excited just from the stuff that you guys have been posting on your social media, on like, you know, Instagram and stuff like that, of like some of the character profiles and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see where this ends up at, you know, because I love the idea. I love the blending. Because if you look at like where wrestling is at now, we're at like a cornerstone where your punk rock kids and your hip hop kids and your kids who, we had a guy from down in the Dayton area not too long ago named Puck, who is a streetwear designer who does stuff with wrestling. So you have all these cool avenues that are mixing with wrestling, and this just feels like another cool thing that's at like the corner of wrestling and other cool shit. So
yeah. I think, not to wax cheesy and poetic, but it comes from the old, you know, the vaudeville days and everything, and I think it is 100%. It's super athletic, but it is an art form, and I think other kids that are mixing, you know, graffiti and punk rock and, you know, I make soap, or, you know, all this different stuff that in this day and age that you can do, like, are realizing it's just another art form, and artists tend to congregate together. So I think a lot of people are starting to click and realize just how fun and ridiculous it can be.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of the video series itself, when can we expect the videos to start popping up on? I believe I saw you guys are going to be putting them on YouTube and through Patreon.
We're going to do YouTube and Patreon. We haven't figured out exactly how we're going to do that. More than likely what'll end up will be one-off matches on YouTube, and when the season itself starts releasing, they'll all be available on Patreon for like $1 a month sort of thing. So it won't be anything expensive or crazy. I can say with 99% certainty that we'll actually be filming the first bit of matches next weekend.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, we're going to kind of do a round of one-offs, to just get acclimated to the space, camera angles, all that stuff, but we're going to release them. So hopefully within the next 2 weeks or so, there should be actual full matches online. Is a really good way to start to introduce these characters, show what they can do, and just get crazy.
Yeah, like a season 0 type thing.
Yeah, you're just essentially working out the kinks, giving everybody an idea of what to expect as you're learning exactly what it's going to be. It seems like this thing's going to grow as you do it and kind of figure out as you're going exactly how it's all going to work out.
That's
exciting.
That's a really kind way of saying we have no clue what we're doing.
No. I like it, because if you plan everything out and it ends up not working out, then you're like, oh crap. But it feels like you got an organic. I don't know. I'm excited.
You guys are also talking to the patron saints of figuring it out as you go.
Absolutely.
So.
Yes. That's what half the show is. But what are the future goals for you guys and for P.O.S.E.R?
Like, where do you see you guys going? What's your
see you guys going at?
Well, I mean, ideally, just more and more seasons. Hopefully, just growing the Patreon, the audience, being able to attract more and more interested talent, so we can flesh out the rosters a little bit more.
I think our other big one is we don't want to run a ton of live shows because we have the internet thing going, and it's nice because then everybody can kind of see it from the comfort of their home.
Right.
But we would like to do, if we could get it to where we're doing 2 or 3 a year, and it feels like a big event, and it's, oh man, they haven't done a live show in 4 or 5 months, and it's something that people want to come out. local bands really want to get involved, we could do a thing where if there's a, an opening band, 2 hours of wrestling, and a closing band at a local bar,
Right.
versus, renting out. The VFW shows are cool, and I love indie wrestling, but just something a little bit different. Mix the rock with the music, or mix the rock music with the wrestling and everything, and just throw a big, bar show and have a ball. And
Yeah, that could be like your season finale.
That's kind of what
wrap
we're thinking.
everything up with a big party. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I can't speak for Corey, but I would love to come out to something like that.
That would be sweet. Yeah, absolutely.
Audio Suplex live on
tour,
on location. Yes.
A personal goal of mine is to do a show at Gen Con.
Nice.
And just have Jock Taylor making fun of everyone at Gen Con and then getting his butt kicked by Lewis the Nerd.
Yeah.
Nice.
You just gave our producer the biggest smile on his face when you said that.
I will say there's a guy in Pennsylvania, and he's wrestling for us, and his name is Lewis the Nerd. And please check out what he's doing, and check him out in what we're doing, because he's basically going to be our juggernaut, and that's the way that it should be.
Nice. I'm excited. Yeah, I'll check that out.
You had mentioned Sean Phoenix before. He's actually done shows up here with our local indie Northwest Ohio wrestling before too. So it was good to go through your guys' roster and see a couple familiar faces.
Yeah,
so.
a couple people we've seen wrestle before.
So let's get into. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it was kind of silly for us because we've got a good amount of local guys and we've got a good little roster built. But when I reached out to him, because we're friends through other friends and we met and hung out, I was like, hey, come down. You can crash with us. We'll feed you and everything. Let's do this. And he's like, I told my friends I've got 9 people that want to come. Is that cool? So he's like, he had to basically go through and just rewrite this whole first season to accommodate for, all of a sudden, here's 8 more people that want to come, and they're all really good. I've seen them wrestle,
right.
WX and in Cleveland and stuff, and it's kind of blew me out of the water that they got what we were doing and they were so interested, because it really is on paper. I'm like, hey, we're going to film it in seasons. There's a lot of weird storyline behind it. There's robots and stuff, and they all completely latched on and got it. Which
it seems like a good problem to have. You have too many quality wrestlers that we have to fit them into the new script.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 20 guys just sitting backstage right now, like WWE, not doing anything with, so
right.
It's a great problem to have.
Just like WWE.
I'd hate to impose, but if you ever have room for 2 handsome dudes, maybe a third that, you want to sneak in a couple of guys, I know a couple guys who would probably,
I'm real good at standing there.
He looks great in sunglasses as well.
Nice. We need a sunglasses standing guy.
Hey, that's my gimmick.
So we have Sean Phoenix. We have Bananas Foster. If we mention any other characters, I'm kind of escaping right now. Let's go into some of the characters that you guys have, who can we kind of look forward to seeing once P.O.S.E.R starts airing.
I think
spoiler alert.
Yeah. I think the most entertaining of all of the characters is actually going to be his character and his son, who are big heel and just the worst, hate, awful people.
Yeah, he's Jock Taylor is a 4-time state champion, Olympic qualifier, and had his criminal record expunged. So
nice.
He has beaten everything. He's beaten his opponents. He's beaten the system.
And Brent plays his dad, Dan Taylor, who basically the atypical. Tell the ref, oh, here's his doctor's note, and hand him $100 bill. Just sleepy. Every guy you've ever heard about in the news that gets away with something because they're rich dad, he's that dad. That all what they hate.
Yeah,
that's the perfect heel.
Manager.
Nice.
I can get behind hating that.
That'll be a good one. We do have, like I said, local man Gavin Knott, who's one of my favorite right now. Just because he's a good wrestler, but also because his character is kind of the anti-character. He's just a quiet guy. He hangs out. He does his thing like a local, just dude hanging out. But the stories around him grow. We're photoshopping him into photos from the 20s and, talking about how he has 1,000 kids and he's been around the scene for 200 years. He can fly, apparently. But, none of this is reflected by him whatsoever. He's just a normal, big, strong guy that wrestles well and is quiet. And so these stories will keep brewing around him, but he doesn't really reflect any of it, which I think will be pretty ridiculous. He's kind of like that high school legend that everybody, you know, I heard he jumped his dirt bike over 30 cars, but he's just drinking a carton of milk and hanging out. Who else do we got? We've got Sean Phoenix, like you guys said, Lewis the Nerd from Pennsylvania. We've got Lee Moriarty from Pennsylvania, whose whole gimmick, he's a very kung fu, like Bruce Leroy-esque, and he's just an insanely good wrestler. I got to see him for the first time at welterweight wrestling up in Cleveland, and he's just crazy good.
Yeah, I'm excited for Honey Badger.
Honey Badger from Pennsylvania. We've got
Just a feral woman.
just crazy. We've got Punky Bruiser, who's just a punk rock band, you know, bass player girl who is already kind of built in to be the nemesis for Jock Taylor, that, you know, the atypical DIY punk rocker versus the rich kid sort of vibe.
We have the teen heartthrob, Ricky a Dragon Dreamboat.
It's funny because he's Ricky a Dragon Dreamboat, but he's not really in any way a parody of Ricky Steamboat so much as like Ricky Nelson and the old 50s guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Dragon with an acoustic guitar, but all of his lyrics are just.
Jesus Christ.
I will say that most of our best brainstorming for story ideas, these characters, are done with all of them, whether we go to a show or just to a restaurant or between practices hanging out outside where it's just a bad joke about, you know,
Right.
oh, Rusev did this, did you guys see, turns into, well, we could do this, and just rabbit holes 30 minutes later into buying a dragon costume on Amazon.
I love it. That's awesome.
Oh, my
It's like a
goodness.
dream come true for booking. You're like, oh, that's a crazy idea. Let's do it. That sounds really hilarious. Like people would love that. And it's
We have another one that we're still working on, but we have a name and a basic idea that kind of an Elvis-y guy.
okay.
And what's his full name?
Oh, it's Honky Tonk 2 Boot Scootin' Boogaloo.
That's
And
beautiful.
we're still fleshing that one out, but just the
Yeah.
idea, it just like a bad Twitter joke turns into, we could do that.
Yeah.
Who looks kind of like Elvis? Who's
Yeah.
willing to? And I will say off the bat that a lot of the more, you know, Bananas Foster, Ricky a Dragon, the sillier ones are a little bit more for the idea of gimmick. They're fun and they add to the story, but it is going to be, you know, here's your core circle of 12, 13 wrestlers that are really good,
Right.
and here's a character, you know, a cast of puppets around them
And
that
your
can
supporting characters or your
flesh out the story,
Yeah.
but also I'm fully aware that I'm going to wear this monkey suit and take a lot of losses. And I'm cool with that because I get to wear a monkey suit and flip in a ring. So 13-year-old me is really
right.
sick.
Yeah.
That's
Not all of the ideas really.
Dreams come true.
Yeah. Not all of our characters have really like fleshed out though. There was the sickest man in all the land, Lucas Kemia, and
That idea died. But we do have, you know, and I think once these matches get uploaded, you will see that for as much as it's fun to talk about the ridiculous ones and really push that, you know, we've got, I still think my favorite one thus far, aside from how ridiculously strong Lewis the Nerd is going to be, might be, we have a friend who's doing a character called Tinderella. And the whole idea is that she keeps showing up as a valet for a different wrestler each time because she met them on Tinder.
Oh.
Which will all spiral to her eventually just flipping out and just beating all of them. So that we actually pitched that character to a buddy that was like, hey, we've got this girl, she's doing this Tinder gimmick. Could you just be like the worst asshole, like Yelp reviewer guy that she comes out with and you guys just blow each other off and then she wails on you and you're just kind of the worst guy that you would meet on Tinder, and they love it. Yeah, absolutely. I want to do that. So thankfully people get it.
That's fantastic. I haven't even seen it, and a lot of these characters already have heat with me, but just because like it's so over the top yet at the same time so relatable. That's fantastic.
Dreams come
That's why we're stoked for this whole season 0 thing. Is I think a lot of people like where we're going and we like talking about it, but once you actually see it on screen, I'm
Right.
hoping that we've had a few people that have even donated to the GoFundMe and are friends and are cool, but they're like, they saw photos of us setting up the ring or doing, you know, posting on our personal Facebook some training bumps and stuff or taking a flip or that or the other. And they're like, wait, I thought this was like a role-playing thing, or I thought this was just a TV show.
Right.
And like, I think once we can get these first few matches up here within the next few weeks, people can start to see like, oh, this is for people that love entertainment, but also people that love wrestling. And there will be, like, you guys have talked about Sean and seen him. He's so good at wrestling. Like, we can't throw him in there and say, hey, this is a silly show, just do headlocks and suplexes. Like, we got to let him do backflips and stuff. So it'll be good wrestling on top of everything.
Almost kind of, it faintly kind of sounds like Wrestling Society X to a certain degree, with just kind of like how over the top it sounds, but with actual, you know, real talented wrestlers in the ring. So, but I don't think they had a monkey on the show. So,
the similar idea without all of the weird fake like electronics that people get thrown to and get shocked on. Some of that stuff was just so crazy where they would just play sound effects and dim the lights and a guy would pretend he was getting electrocuted.
So you don't have Vampiro throwing people into like energy balls or anything like that?
Not yet.
Are you free, Vampiro?
That's not goals.
Yeah.
I think I'll say I don't think we're too proud to say that. I think on the hierarchy of things we would like to get involved with, we're all dreamers about Shikara. If we can do fun stuff with them, they've already got similar vibes, and we've talked to a few people that work with them, so we're at least trying to open those lines of communication. But if we could get any of them to come do anything with us or vice versa, that would be a dream.
Yeah, I feel like the new stretch goal for the GoFundMe is Vampiro.
Obviously.
Energy balls.
Not even a wrestling one. He's just gonna juggle.
Yeah.
If we get to $10,000 on GoFundMe, we'll bring Vampiro out and he'll throw energy balls, great balls of fire, if you will, actually. People. So that actually brings me to another question that we had kind of down for you guys. Both either like on the, because we're based in Ohio as well, just a couple hours north of you guys here in Toledo. Ohio's got a fantastic wrestling scene right now, both here in our own city. Dayton's a huge wrestling scene. Cleveland. Dayton, Is there anybody that you would like to see involved in P.O.S.E.R, whether it be like on an Ohio scale, like just kind of workers around Ohio that you would like to reach out to and say like, hey, come be part of this, or even on like a larger scale, like if it's like if you could just say like, hey,
let's get Kenny Omega
into a P.O.S.E.R match.
Without giving away any sort of storyline, because it's going to be ridiculous, our big joke is there's a stable of similar-looking individuals, but they don't actually look alike at all. We really want Virgil for that.
Oh my God, yes.
It's just that, but not explained, not addressed as Virgil, just if he was in the background for like one episode and like threw a chair and then was just gone and never spoken of again. That would be that's my dream casting.
No disrespect to Virgil, but like $50 and a gift card to Olive Garden, you might actually have it.
We kind of had that conversation. It's in the maybe pile. You know, if we can get the unlimited soup and breadsticks, I think he's in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That meat sauce, man.
It sells a lot. I mean, I do it.
Meat sauce and a little bit of I'll drop our only F-bomb. A little
Joe
bit of
just threw down on this.
Guys, I don't know if you can see this. We have two $25 gift cards. Virgil, if you're listening,
we got them.
These could be exchanged for either meat sauce or fuck money. Your choice. So get at us, Virgil. I know you're not busy.
We'll help you out. We're going to contact Virgil for you. We'll make this happen.
Let's find out what con he's on right now and get at him.
Yeah.
I would love to do a storyline where my long-lost illegitimate child is Chuck Taylor.
Oh, God, yes. Wow. Oh, wait. That is Pro Wrestling Guerrilla champion Chuck Taylor.
I know one of our wrestlers, Beautiful Bradley, who's really good, and the gimmick he's doing with this Beautiful Bradley thing is ridiculous. He really wants to wrestle Super Oprah. And again, I think that's one of those ones that's more in the reality pile.
Yeah. Some things more feasible.
A lot of Shikara guys, and I say this from a point of I would just get destroyed, and I don't even want to compare myself to him, but if I could wrestle the Space Chimp.
Oh, yeah.
We need more, just interspecies monkey fights.
Yeah.
So that would be a fantastic one. I got to watch Ophidian wrestle recently. I have loved him for years. I would love to see that.
Matt Sydal in a bra and panties match. For equality, Yeah. Objectify Matt Sydal for 15 minutes.
I don't know. As far as big league, I really like a lot of the guys on Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
I think
Johnny
they would
Mundo.
There's
So good.
there's definitely similar qualities with what we're doing and what they're doing, I think, too. So I think they would get it. And I'm a sucker for masked gimmicks. They'd be really fun. As far as the biggest league, New Japan or WWE, who do you got?
Oh man, I feel what would be doable would just be us crashing Ziggler and Miz's high school reunions.
Anyone from WWE, I would go with Eva Marie.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have this theory.
We can book her.
Yeah, she's free now.
She's open for
She's
bookings.
almost there. I am the only person in the world that loves Eva Marie, but I love Eva Marie because I think in this day and age where, and I'm wearing an Owens shirt, I love Owens, but like with guys like him where they're heels, but you kind of love them, you have to have one person who's willing to just really be just the shithead.
Just
and
be hated.
like,
Oh yeah.
hated. I went to, my wife and I went to NXT, not last year's Rumble, but the year before when AJ Styles debuted. And we went to NXT the night before, and Eva Marie came out. And people, it's the most, like, I've seen Roman get booed live, and that's,
Right.
I love it. Don't get me wrong. But the reactions to her ranged from people screaming the filthiest, just worst stuff I've heard, to literally half of an arena pulling out books, and people just read while she wrestled. Like, it was
Wow.
astronomical levels of heat.
So-
And if you can get that kind of reaction, that's just amazing.
So
Yeah.
much heat that she forced wrestling fans to read.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's some
Yikes.
major heat right there.
Half of them were just pretending. The books were upside down.
I mean, I've read a book or two in my
Yeah, Mick
lifetime.
Foley wrote
but-
a couple
Yeah.
books.
That's insane. Yeah, and you know what? I actually agree with that. There is something to be said for a heel character this day and age that can get actual heel heat. There's not very many. I think Elias Sampson might be one of them. Right now,
I really
he's
like
just-
him now, though.
Yeah, but that's the
but I
thing.
don't hate him. I'm not going to boo him anymore.
Yeah, you get to a
I think
point
Victor's
where
definitely doing it. I think Sheamus had it for a minute when they put the belt on Roman and Sheamus was like the corporate champ.
Yeah, I hated that too.
Hated him, and
Oh, yeah.
I hated him because we're supposed to. But in the back of my head, I'm like, I love this. This is that Eva Marie level of just everyone hates you.
Right.
Yeah.
yep.
Good,
But
like awesome.
But he's been having like such good matches with Cesaro that's
Yeah,
no
it's
longer
hard.
Big boss man, get off my TV heat. It's all right. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I guess I don't
he,
like
he
it,
did
but
it
yeah.
for a minute. He
Yeah.
did it so.
Yeah,
I have my New Japan pick.
Who's your New Japan pick?
Cody Rhodes in a Dungeons and Dragons match.
Nice.
What is, give me the details on the Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
So we'll let Cody Rhodes make a level 5 character,
Yeah.
and his opponent makes a level 5 character, and then they have to fight each other. The GM will set the hazard effects and do all the rulings and everything, but yeah, they are in the ring with their level 5 characters fighting each other.
You
I
just
wanted
thought of
to
that
get-
just now?
Yeah.
I want it to be a two-parter where they have to actually like battle in D&D, like rolling for moves and initiatives and stuff.
Yeah.
But then after that match, they have to wrestle in the ring in costume as their level 5 characters with like eco-friendly swords.
Oh, for the LARP championship.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. This writes itself.
Oh my god, I have a file folder of things that I never knew I wanted to see, but I actually
But
really
now-
want to see now.
Now it's in there.
I have to see this.
Yeah.
Even if it's not a Cody Rhodes, I just have to see a D&D match.
Right. Well, now we have to have the women's division so we can have LARP for the gorgeous ladies live action role play. New GoFundMe, guys.
I'm gonna have 5 dragon costumes.
So at 10,000 backers, we get Vampiro throwing energy balls. At 15, we get Glarp, the gorgeous ladies of live action roleplay.
At 25,000, you get Vampiro throwing energy balls at Eva Marie as a block.
Nice.
I'm hold on, give me a
Drain the
second.
bank account real quick.
I'm checking my bank account right now, actually. Oh my goodness, that's a. So Corey, you got one question that Corey
Yes.
asked of all of our guests. You want to get
is
this
very
one off
important.
the table?
I'd like to ask both of you, who is each of your all-time favorite wrestler? So of all time, number one, I know you have one. Who's your favorite?
Kurt Angle.
I already know yours.
Ah, man.
I'm gonna sound like such a hipster with mine, but it's legit, and I've liked him since before he was cool. Steven Regal.
That's a good pick.
That's a good pick. I can see
Very
why
talented.
people would bemoan that as like the hipster pick, but honestly, I'm right there with you. He's fantastic.
His feud with Triple H, I thought was fantastic. That was some great technical work.
Yeah.
I just watched that promo that he did on Triple H not too long ago, where they were involved with like the Eugene storyline, and oh my god, fantastic! That promo gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, he's so good.
Yeah.
I'm going to go HBK. I know that's probably one that gets tossed around a lot, but
I think HBK is the overall. Most people have picked HBK, I think, of everyone on the show.
He holds a special place in my heart because I liked wrestling as a kid, but I didn't love it. It was a lot of very one-dimensional good guy versus bad guy, and he was the first guy that I saw that I think really, I mean, I was probably 6 or 7 when he kicked Jannetty through the window, and I think it clicked in my head that like, okay, this is more than Saturday morning cartoons now. And then, you know, he did DX, and then he did, you know, corporate stuff after that, and he kept steamrolling, and he came back, but he always...
the NWO.
Correction. Marty Jannetty threw himself out of that window to try to get... He's
obviously
that coward.
But no, I read interviews with Jannetty where he said that they had a real one and a fake one, and that he went through the real one. And I don't know how much I believe it because he just spouts off such crazy nonsense. But I don't put it past the WWF in my head either that some, you know, teamster in the back forgot to put in the fake one, and Jannetty just almost died.
Well, it's the same company that had Kurt Angle throw the boss's son through actual glass, you know, planes. So I wouldn't put it past them.
Or have the Macho Man get bit by a cobra that wouldn't let go of him.
Unreal.
Yeah. Or have the Macho Man bang your daughter.
Yeah, that too.
That's heiressay.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. The video has never leaked, so we'll never know.
There's a video?
We'll never know. I don't know. Weird. Maybe.
Anyway.
Probably not.
So I think that that's just some good picks. I love Regal so much. He's
no one's ever said that. I like that a lot.
I actually had a friend that was a local wrestler that fashioned his character around Steven Regal. Like he watched all the
which
old
one,
promo.
the Man's Man or the
no the Lord Steven Regal stuff.
So before we let you guys get out of here, I'm gonna give you guys the platform. Let's plug everything. Let's plug all the social media. Let's tell everybody where can we find more information on P.O.S.E.R Wrestling, and we'll link everything obviously in the description below. But plug away, fellas.
We tried to stay streamlined, so it's P.O.S.E.R Wrestling on Facebook, at P.O.S.E.R Wrestling on Instagram, at P.O.S.E.R Wrestling on Twitter, on Patreon if you look up P.O.S.E.R Wrestling, YouTube, same deal.
PoserWrestling.com is a good jumping off point with links to all of our other places.
And I would say if you check it out when this comes out, you're going to see some clips, you'll see some promos, you'll see stuff like that. But within the next few weeks even, matches will start to steamroll. And I think the game plan we're pretty on track for is knocking out it'll be a short one, but just like a 6-episode season 1 in August. Keep uploading singles matches, but really start uploading the season as it goes. Probably by September, by summer's end, season 1 will be live, at least part of it. It'll be over by October, and you mentioned this earlier. This was actually kind of something that was already in our head, but there'll probably be a live season finale in Ohio, probably around Halloween time.
Nice. Very exciting. So yeah, that's easy for everybody. P.O.S.E.R Wrestling on all the platforms. That's easy enough.
Yeah, so if you guys are listening to this and you want to see some more P.O.S.E.R action, make sure you guys give them a follow. Make sure you guys give them a like, and keep your eyes open on their social media for all the cool stuff that they've got coming out. So
now's the time to follow them because the content is about to start pouring out.
Get in while the getting's good.
You want to say, hey, I followed these guys before Vampiro.
I knew these guys before Vampiro was on the show.
Yes. Fantastic. I wonder if we can get Vampiro.
I don't know. That'd be kind of cool.
Before they threw Virgil through the window.
Nice.
All right, so I want to thank you guys for coming onto the show today. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. Like I said, no hyperbole. I am super stoked to see what you guys come out with.
Very stoked.
You guys will have definitely 2 viewers, probably 3 viewers right here alone. So,
Before we forgot about Joe.
Joe is also going to
Joe is also going to view it. We're trying to get Joe, our producer, slowly but surely into wrestling, and I think this might be you had him at D&D match. So
especially if we have hot older women doing the D&D match for the Glarp Arp.
Yeah, for the Glarp, the Glarp
Unfortunately,
championship.
it's live action role playing AARP, so
We're not going to stop until there's only one small section of the U.S. that likes us, and I think that baby boomer aged, silver fox female is the one we should shoot for. So this is perfect.
I like it.
Fantastic.
I like it.
All right, well, we'll let you guys get on with it. We're going to plug a couple things after you guys get off here for the rest of our show. But once again, thank you guys for coming on. Check out P.O.S.E.R Wrestling.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll see you. We'll talk to you guys again shortly.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right, partner. Fantastic. I am thoroughly looking forward to
it sounds like some good stuff coming on along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So good. God, I love it. I love when cool things happen in the world of wrestling, whether they be live action role playing with elderly women or, our show itself.
I vote that once we get the D&D match, that Joe's got to be the special guest referee.
Well, it wouldn't be a referee. It would be a DM.
Yes.
Dungeon Master.
Yeah, special guest DM.
Well, what you guys don't know is I just backed it.
Oh, you already did. So you're already here. So
we're a corporate sponsor now.
We are a corporate sponsor of P.O.S.E.R Wrestling.
And I get to pick one of the stipulations in one of the matches.
So we now have a D&D match getting booked for P.O.S.E.R Wrestling.
Yep.
Fantastic.
One way or the other, it's going down.
It's happening.
Holy crap. Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. Like we said already 100 times, you can link to all of the P.O.S.E.R stuff in the description below. Give them a like for sure. This is the time to get on board and kind of watch it from the beginning.
Yeah. So real quick before we get out of here, next week, Great American Bash 1989. We have got Terry Funk. We have got Sting. We have got Ric Flair. We have got the Great Muta, the Road Warriors.
Who else?
No D&D match, though.
Rikishi's in this
Rikishi is on this pay-per-view. The amount of just pure talent on this show.
The Steiner brothers.
Corey and I are sitting there watching it just going like, oh my God.
I know all these guys.
Who's all on this? Fantastic. I can't wait for us to get together next week and review that. So you guys tune in next week. We have a retroactive look at the Great American Bash 1989.
Yes.
After that, we have a preview special for Battleground, next SmackDown pay-per-view with the Punjabi prison match. Punjabi.
I'll be wearing my Jinder Mahal shirt that day.
He will be. I will remind him to wear his Jinder Mahal shirt.
I won't forget. I won't forget.
He will remember.
And then we have from Northwest Ohio Wrestling, Louis Perez coming into the studio and going to sit down and hang out with us here, part of our continued partnership with Northwest Ohio Wrestling, and us supporting them supporting us helping each other. Help out your local indie scene, guys.
Which you'll actually get to see a match of his if you keep up with our NOW post, because Uprising 11.
Yes.
When we release that, he is in one of the matches, so you'll actually get to see a little bit of his work if you're not familiar with him before he's on the show.
Yes.
Or around the time, hopefully.
And then after that, Corey and I are booking up the next set of episodes here, but starting in August, Audio Suplex Live will now be coming to you on Sunday afternoons at 1 p.m.
Sunday.
Correct.
And, our pay-per-view preview specials will now just become regular old episodes, much to my chagrin. Chagrin is the word we were looking for. So, something to look forward to, you guys. So if you like Audio Suplex Live, like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the social medias. Make sure you guys follow P.O.S.E.R. Make sure you guys follow our personal accounts and keep an eye on our social media for updates as to what the schedule is going to look like going forward once we move to Sunday afternoons. So
we're booking now. So also, if you're a professional wrestler out there that would like to be interviewed, or you're involved in professional wrestling in any way, hit us up, message us on probably Facebook. Probably won't be one of the easiest ways to reach us.
Or you can email us at audiosuplexlive@gmail.com.
But we respond to everybody as long as you are able to give us all the information we need, and we feel like you'd make a good fit. We'll definitely have whoever on the show.
Yeah,
via Skype or in person.
We want to get people onto the show and into the studio and on Skype. So yeah, if you are listening to this and you are involved in pro wrestling in some capacity, booker, promoter, wrestler, valet, referee, manager, you make music for wrestling, whatever you do, come on. Come hang out.
We're interested to find out what your life is like.
So without any further ado, Joe's giving us the go home signal. We will catch you guys next week. Too sweet.
Hey guys, we would like to thank the band Wax for our intro and outro music. You can check them out at waxoh.bandcamp.com. You have been listening to the Nerd Complex Podcast Network.
You've been listening to the Nerd Complex Podcast Network.